great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration and then proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. How great thou art, how great thou art. Amen. We're going to start with John 15, verse 16, where it says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give to you." Now, Marc, verse 25, chapter 5. A large crowd followed and pressed around him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garments. For she said, "If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well." Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" But his disciples said to him, "You see the multitude thronging you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." Amen.
Amen.
My brothers, these two passages, they are very important because beforehand we meditated in John 15, verse 16, where he says, "You did not choose me, I chose you. You did not choose me, I chose you. And I appointed you to go and bear fruits, and these fruits have to remain." So he's telling us the first step for us to understand everything else. Everything else. Because in the spiritual plan, we cannot cut any step. And the first thing that we need to understand is that you did not choose God. You did not choose him. He chose you. He chose me to be here tonight. Even though we came here with our own power, with our own desire, we need to understand that the Spirit of God is the one that planted and that inserted that desire within your heart, first of all, beforehand, before anything. And that is why you are here, my brother. And this is the first step for us to be able to digest any other information that is going to come by the Spirit of God. Believe that you did not come here for your own will. Even if you came here 100 times, I'm here every service. But I need to believe that God called me. He called me because tonight He made an appointment with me for me to grow spiritually and to understand about Him a little more. And that is the first step, my brothers and my sisters. That the world, that Satan will not let the people of God understand. People think, they look to the invitation, they look to the service, and they only see the man, and they forget about the Spirit. They forget about who is above, the architect of this that we're doing here. Because the church is only being used to promote a reality that is coming from a different realm, from a different phase, a different stage. And this invitation here, this moment that you are here, is not coming from this realm. This invitation is not coming from this realm where you can see with your own eyes, my brothers. And that is what Jesus tries to tell us when He says that you did not choose me. You did not do anything. I know your future. I know your story. And I know your sufferings from the past and your afflictions from the future, just like He said to that woman here where we meditated in Marc. And the beauty is that everything is intertwined. Why is it intertwined? Because in this passage, this woman was there in the presence of Jesus. Just like you are in the presence of Jesus. Presuming that you understood what the Spirit says in the book of John. That's why I decided to start. In the book of John. Because if you don't understand what Jesus is telling you, that He chose you, then what is the point to preach anything else? This is the first step. So let's go from there. Let's bring this document, this story of that woman, to our lives now, to 2020. And that woman was there in the middle of the crowd, and Jesus was passing. Just like He's here, you have to believe that just like He's here among us tonight, He was there, close to that woman. But He was passing, my brothers. And He was passing, He was walking by, and He was going to pass. He was going to pass. In the middle of the crowd, that woman saw her affliction. She saw, and she understand the thing that is one of the great barriers that the servant of God have. The thing that is one of the great barriers for everyone that walks through that door. She understood that she was there for a reason, because God wanted her to be there. And she saw the power in that opportunity. And she was able to extract something that no one else could. No one else could. And that is what Jesus wants to do with us tonight. Even though He was in the middle of a crowd there. He was in a mundane. He was in a regular place in the city. He was able to change the scenario and remove the affliction from that woman's heart. Even though He was there. And even deeper, when that woman goes to Him and she wants to try out the power of God, she touches Jesus' garments. Look, my brothers, His clothes. Look how simple. So He's showing us that we now have the same access. We are in the simple place, just like that woman was. He was in a special place, for instance, or anything. In a special temple, wearing special clothes. No. He was just like us now, just like you. In a place like this, made of flesh, made of stone. And that woman was able to extract power, because the power was in her hands. And tonight He's telling us that it's the same thing. You don't need to be anywhere special. It is not about the place. It is not about the beauty of this world. What is being offered to you by the flesh. Jesus was there in His clothes, in a simple place among simple people. But the difference was in the perspective of that woman, my brothers. look, the way that she saw him is the way that we should fight to see him. Because Jesus was in the middle of the simplicity. And nowadays, people want to see the power with their eyes. They don't want to feel the power. You're not going to see the power. You're not going to see the power in any church, in any pastor. The crowd that was there was trying to see a powerful Jesus made of flesh and bone. But that woman, she was looking to the power that was subsiding and existed within Jesus. That was the Spirit of God. And this is the difference, my brothers. Don't try to look to the power. Looking here to us, to me, I'm nothing. The church is nothing. Because you're not going to find the power trying to look with your own eyes. Because for thousands of people from that crowd, no one could extract and remove their afflictions from themselves. And the beauty, my brothers, is that we see here that she was suffering for 12 years, from many things, from many physicians. She spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. And when she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. Look, my brothers. She was there and she went inside of the crowd and touched his garment, and that was enough. She didn't care the way that Jesus was, who was around her, what was the situation. She took advantage of the Spirit of God, of the essence of God. And tonight, God is telling the same thing to you. Don't wait to see the difference, because he's passing here. And he's not going to wait. He's passing just like he was passing to that city to help people. He's passing. And if you don't stop to look to the Spirit, to look to the opportunity that you're having, he's going to pass. And who knows if he's going to pass again, if you're going to come again, if you're going to have another opportunity. I don't know, my brothers. But what I know is that today, the present time, he brought us here. And I love this message because it shows a woman that was desperate, living in a situation that was impossible. There was no solution for her. So the Spirit of God is telling us tonight, are you living a situation with no solution? Do you have anything that is bringing affliction to your heart, just like that woman was full of afflictions? Come, go to Jesus. Go to him and touch his clothes. Stop looking to what is around you, to the church that you are, and look to the invitation, to the meaning of that nights that we're spending here. He chose you. He chose you. And he chose you for a reason. For a reason. Do not waste that invitation. Do not waste that calling, because he's going to pass. And from all these people here, only that woman was the only person that was able to see the wonder of God, to see the wonder of Jesus, because she was open and she was not looking to him. She was looking to the opportunity that she was having, and she obtained 100% from that opportunity. And tonight, my brothers, we're all here. We're a crowd of people. But let's not be the crowd. Let's be like that woman here, the only one, the only person. And that is concerned because from all of these hundreds of people, they were not able to see the power of God. And do you want to be the same thing? Do you think just because you're here, something's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. It's you. You will make it happen. You are the reason why this service exists, this church exists here. Don't think that the church will bring the power, that some other place, some other religion, some other pastor will bring the power to you. You're going to waste your life expecting that. No one can do anything for you. Only God. And he called you. You have to believe that he called you to change the situation that you're living, to change your life, to bring you close to thee, to bring you closer and closer. But the problem is that people come and nothing happens. Nothing happens because they're being like that crowd. They're among Jesus. So what? thousands of people among Jesus. But the only one who really touched him, was that woman here. Because of her faith. And Jesus at the end says, go, woman, go in peace, because your faith has made you well. Your faith has made you well. And this is beautiful because it shows that it is in your hands, is in my hands, my brothers. And it's going to depend on every single one of us. And this passage shows us a story of a woman that existed, that was here among us. But of course, the evil will always try to deceive us and say that this word doesn't exist, that this Bible is a tale, that is a regular story told by the man. But you see, everything is a matter of perspective. How do you see? Do you see power here tonight? Do you believe that there's power here tonight? See, if you believe, there will be power for you here tonight. But if you don't believe, don't expect anything to happen. Do you believe there's power in the Word of God to touch these roses here and to heal you from your infirmity, from your disease, from your problem? Do you believe? If you believe, you're going to take these roses and you will be healed. You will be cured by God. You will. But it's a matter of perspective. What do you see? What do you believe? Your faith is the one that will make you well. It is your faith. Amen? Amen. A round of applause for this. My brothers, I'm going to invite Deacon Pierre.